Anxiety and stress and overwhelm and self-blame, all of these are symptoms of time dysfunction. Hello and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Taryn McCarthy, and I am just so grateful to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us on our last episode, speaking to Dr. Grace Yum and learning all about how she was able to find her version of success, being a mommy dentist, podcaster, business owner, and just an all-out achiever and dreamer of her own dreams. It was really fascinating talking to her. So thank you for joining me on that episode. Next time, we're going to be speaking with another phenomenal human being. I cannot wait for you to meet Mr. Michael Alasso. This interview is so full of pearls about how to bring your best self, especially in the digital age. And with all of our presence online and on screens, he really is an expert because he is an actor, a producer, a director, and very familiar with interacting with and understanding the needs of your audience. So please definitely check that episode out in our next episode. Today, we're going to be talking about healing time sickness. This is just so important and something that I really struggled with for many, many years. And I'm so eager to chat with you about what that even means and some suggestions on how to view time differently. And before we get started in today's episode, I do just want to welcome all of our new members at an incredible private Facebook group, the Business of Happiness Hive. It's really just such an awesome place for leaders of their own dreams and leaders of their teams to join up and support one another with great tools and resources for personal development and leadership development. So check us out, the Business of Happiness Hive on Facebook. Our new members are Sherry, Emily, Joyce, and Allison. Welcome. We're so happy to have you and so eager to have you join this conversation. So without further ado, what is time sickness? What are we talking about today? Well, what I define time sickness as is that frustration when unexpected events outside of our control come in and usurp our time. Whenever you feel that anger or frustration or, let's face it, lack. How many times have you heard someone say, "There's not enough time in the day," or "I wish there were more than 24 hours in a day"? Or sometimes time sickness can even look like, and listen to this, high achievers, you're totally going to relate to this. You know when you love to check off boxes and you have a day off or you have a morning off and you create a checklist for yourself that's way too enormous for you to possibly achieve? But man, does it feel good to check off boxes. Man, does it feel like a little high. In fact, can you relate to this feeling of when you're multitasking like a king, multitasking like a boss, and you get on this little high, like doom, 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 got this one, got that one, got that one. And then you get to the end of your list and you start looking for more. This happens to me still to this day. I'll catch myself when I'm multitasking and it feels so good and I'm in such a flow, and then I want to look for more and I complicate things and I build up a little bit of anxiety, but ooh, does that anxiety feel good? That is time sickness. Because even though in the moment it feels so good, I know I'm going to be suffering that night. And now I'm going to be spinning and spinning at 2 a.m. because I just can't turn off. Those are all symptoms of what I call time sickness. So how do we even begin to address this? You know, Einstein said, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Really? Really? I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what the past was and what the present is and what the future is. But here's the key that Einstein was telling us about, is that the only moment that matters is now. And that there really is no distinction. That there's no such thing as time running out. This is our perception in society, is that we're running out of time. We all live as if there's this bank account that we're draining constantly, and we're watching that bank account kind of diminish. And as if one day we're going to wake up and we only have a couple cents left in the bank account. But the truth is that in any moment we have this enormous abundance if we will allow ourselves to see it that way. The most impactful practice that I have found to address time sickness is that of being present in the moment. And for me, one of my greatest kickoffs, one of the greatest ways that I can assure for myself to be present in the moment is to come back to my breath. So whenever I find myself feeling a little bit agitated, or that little high of checking off boxes, which I know is a dangerous one, or when I feel like I just am running out, there's not enough time in the day, my practice is literally to slow down and take a deep breath. Literally breathe in and breathe out. You know, just doing that slows time down for us. Just allowing ourselves to be present in the moment. It takes no time at all, but it centers us to remind us of this moment. When I catch myself in that moment, I'm usually multitasking, or I'm either stressing about something that was or something that will be. And just taking a breath and focusing on the breath coming in and then the breath leaving my body. Just that single practice gets me centered in the present moment again. And then I just force myself to just do what's in front of me. What am I actually doing in this moment? Sometimes it means I have to shift my focus away from something. So busy moms, you'll know this familiar feeling of trying to get dinner done, and you're on the phone, and you're planning the school lunches for the week, and you're thinking about the conversation you had with your colleague at work, and now your daughter's asking for your attention. And man, it feels like you're running out of time. And then I start bossing. I don't know if you're like me, but then I start dictating. You do this, you do that. Because I think if I can delegate to as many kids as possible, they can help me find more time in my evening. What's so much more rewarding, and believe me, this is a practice I have to keep working on every day. I am absolutely guilty of falling into the time sickness trap. But if I can give myself permission to take a deep breath and then just focus on what I'm doing, it anchors me back in the present moment. How can we align with time and not against it? Because there's one thing we know about time dysfunction, is that anxiety and stress and overwhelm and self-blame, all of these are symptoms of time dysfunction, right? When we start beating ourselves up for things we did or didn't do, or anticipating things that we're going to have to do, or even, gossiping can be a time dysfunction because you're reliving something, you're rehashing something outside of the present moment. And isn't it true that love and creativity, two of the things that absolutely contribute to our happiness, that we're all striving for more of, love and creativity, those things cannot happen if we're not present in the moment. Think for a minute about the last time you just felt so in love. Either it was with a significant other, or, I was looking at my niece yesterday, and she was just, the words she was using and the sweet conversation we were engaging in. Oh, the love in me just poured out of my heart, overwhelmed me. That meant in that moment, I was present in that moment. The dinner I was making didn't matter. The conversation I had with my friend the day before didn't matter. I was fully present. I was able to feel love in the moment. I think that's why sometimes sex can be so powerful too, because if you're really feeling in love with someone, it's because you're so present. You're focusing only on that. And when it doesn't feel rewarding is when you weren't able to be present, when you were thinking about a million other things, that you can't have intimate time with your loved one. And the same is true for creativity. I am so much more creative when I'm able to just be present in the moment, when I give myself time to be present in the time that I've allowed for myself. So how can we align with time so that it can work for us instead of against us? Because the truth is, we really have nothing but time. We really don't. Time is actually the only thing we have. Everything else is fleeting. Material things, relationships, status, money, doesn't matter what it is, it's all transient. But time is the one thing that we have. Even our own health, even our own bodies. Time is the only thing that we actually have. And it's the only thing we have in this moment. I love thinking about time as being enormously abundant. And I also love thinking about time in terms of how I want to honor it, in terms of where I put my energy. If I have this day, where will I allow my energy to go? Sometimes it takes a little wake-up call. I've recently done a time audit again, and if you don't know what a time audit is, it's simply where you break down all the minutes in your day, all the hours in your day, all the days in your week, and see where am I actually spending my time. Am I giving all my time energy to my cell phone, to Facebook and Instagram? Am I scrolling for hours and pouring my energy into gossip, if that's what you're looking at? Or am I pouring my energy and time into learning? Is that my value? Where have I poured my time and energy into? If I really love spending time with family, am I doing more of that? Or am I spending more of my energy doing something that society tells me I should, that maybe doesn't have the same value to me as it does to other people? Sometimes we fill up our day with things that we think we should be doing. As a mom, this can be tricky because there's so many expectations of moms and so many understandings of where we should or shouldn't be spending our time. I recently realized that I really don't enjoy cooking. For me, cooking is not spending the time that I really want to. I can spend it in other ways. And so I've had to let go of that expectation that I always need to be cooking the fresh, healthy meal, which is something that I did for years and put a lot of pressure on myself to do so. Now I find other resources. I'm okay with getting takeout from somewhere. Of course, I still want to eat healthy food, so I make sure my resources are appropriate, but I've been a lot gentler on myself because I realize the value of that time and where I want to put my energy when it comes to the time that I have in the day. I think that time can be an enormous gift. And the reality is that we can look at time more as a playground. I like thinking of it that way because when we think of children at play, it's almost like they've stepped outside of time. They've learned how to just fully engross themselves in what they're doing. And if you think about watching children play, they don't know what time it is. They don't have an agenda. In fact, it's almost whiplash when you jerk them back into time and you say, wait, you got to be ready in a few minutes. In fact, I've noticed that with my own children. If I whip them out of an activity, they almost are jarred and upset. Whereas if I can give them a little bit of a warning, 5 more minutes, and then we're going to be changing our activity, that's a little gentler on them. Almost gives them a little invitation to step back into time because they've literally stepped out of time. You know, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier, and we were talking about having fun. And I have an interesting history with fun in my life. I'm still trying to define what fun is for me. I think that fun changes over time, and we have fun in different ways in different seasons of our lives. But the one part about fun that I think holds true for everyone is when you're so engrossed in what you're doing that you're able to be fully present. And you're getting so much enjoyment out of it that time can slip away. Or rather, our hold on time can slip away. We don't hold on to it so tightly and force it, but we can let it just breathe and let it just live for us. So what this comes down to is the practice of being present in the moment and recognizing that for many of us, multitasking is a killer of time. It breaks it down so strictly that it really holds us to a standard that is not achievable in terms of trying to get a million things done at once. Because it's unfulfilling to do everything just halfway and not feel like you've fully been present for any one moment. In fact, understanding what is really important to me and where I want to put that time, and then allowing myself to be fully present for that action or that person and not diluting it with 100 other activities. So learning to live in the flow and doing so only in the here and now and not obsessing about what used to be or what I anticipate will be. We make every moment matter when we realize that we can be timeless and that this moment that we're in is enormously abundant. Well, I hope this message serves you today. Today is going to be a really great day. And I know it's going to be a great day because I'm allowing myself to live in the moment. So until next time, enjoy this moment. Bye-bye.